So you've been told you have thoracic outlet syndrome. Maybe even tried stretches or massage, but your arm still tingles or goes numb. That's because most treatments focus on the symptom, not the source of the compression. Hi, I'm Stephanie from mPower Physical Therapy, and today we're going to dive deeper into three main areas that causes compression in the thoracic outlet syndrome: the scalenes, the first rib, and the pec minor, and how to identify which one might be your problem. We'll also talk about how your neck mobility and compensation patterns plays a huge role, because if we don't address the source, the symptoms always come back. Diagnoses like thoracic outlet syndrome describe what's happening, nerves compressed, but they don't exactly explain why it's happening. The real goal is to identify the driver: poor neck mobility, especially in the upper cervical spine, which can create tightness or overactive scalene muscles; elevated first rib; tight in the pec minor, pulling the shoulder forward; compensations from posture or breathing mechanics. So when we find and treat the true source, not just the pain, symptoms resolve faster and stay longer. So let's talk about the pain points that oftentimes are hard to figure out and what is causing this. And you have to get to someone who understands the body so that you can get to the source of all these problems. So like I've said before, thoracic outlet is a diagnosis. It is a symptom. You have to get into why are you getting compression through some of these areas. And so the first one that we're going to talk about is the scalenes. And a lot of times I was like, oh, the scalene is tight. Let me go and do soft tissue and just work all the scalenes in through here. And that's all well and good. But more than likely, the scalene is tight because of something that's not moving. So you have to look at the upper cervical spine, because the scalene attaches not in C1, C2, C3, C4, all these areas down through here, the scalenes attach, and then they come down and attach into that first rib and that second rib. So if something's not moving through here, you're gonna get the tightness and protection that's happening, which is then gonna give you a lot of tightness in the front. And I can tell you, you can have one section that's not moving that all of a sudden you're like, oh, I just feel like I just need to tight, I just need to stretch. And so they're giving you all these scalene stretches that you're doing to where you're just working on just stretching this muscle. They're doing all this massage, but it's not working because a joint's not moving. And so you have to really figure that out. And honestly, most of the time with something like this, you really need to get into someone that understands this, because you can find one area. We can go through and hit every single joint and go, wow, this is not moving. Can you feel that? I'm like, oh my God, that kills me. We go and we work it and we get it moving. We kind of stretch that joint and get it moving, and all of a sudden that pain just goes away. And so it's really good if you actually can get into someone, but if you can't, how are you going to know? Well, you're not, because we can basically move each individual joint. But let's say you have issues on this side. How you're going to stretch is we're just going to basically kind of pull the joints over while giving our body like a side bend kind of motion. And so if we can get the mobility improved through here, that muscle tightness will go away, especially if it's been something that's recent. If it's been something that's been there for a long period of time, when we get things moving, we may have to release a little bit of it, because if it's been tight for a long time, there will get some muscle shortening. But if you don't fix the joints first, then the muscle protection is just going to come right back again. So we have to fix that. So I'm going to show you behind. You're going to take your head. So if I have problems on this side, you're going to basically lock in with your spine. So you can kind of feel like here's the spine bones. You're going to like the spinous, the bumps that are along here are spinous process. You're going to kind of come just to the outside of that on this side. And what you're going to do, let me pull my hair up, is you're going to pull this way as you pull your head this way. So you can just kind of get a little bit of a mobilization as you do it. So I'm pulling and pulling, so that we can kind of get those joints to kind of move, because we need that to move in order for those scalenes to release. Now, if the mobility is normal and there's no problems whatsoever, then okay, yeah, go in and start releasing the tightness through there. But we've got to figure out like, well, what's happening? Why did you tighten up there? What did you do that is creating some of that? And there could be some posture things that happen. And I can tell you if something's not moving, especially like that first rib, which is the second thing that we're going to talk about. First rib gets elevated, our body goes forward like this. And so that could also be a reason why this is tightening up, because it's elevated, shortening those scalenes, because again, the scalene's attached into that first rib and that second rib. And then your pec starts getting tight because you're elevated and rounded like this. And even if you try to work on just pulling it back, typically you'll find people and you're just like, you just want to stretch your arm back like this because it feels better because you're forcing your body where you want it to be, but the joints don't move, so it's stuck. And so that's where that first rib comes into play. Like if it's not moving, your first rib, literally when you go through like kind of this upper trap through here, you go straight down, that's your first rib. And if it's not moving and it's elevated, you're also going to get compression and tightness, muscle tightness all around that area. And we need to get that moving. So if you are really tight in that first rib, these are called Thoracanes, love them. This is what I use it for mainly. I even use it for myself here. So you're going to take it and you're going to put it on the top part of that shoulder. So if I take it, I'm going to put it right here on the top part of that shoulder, and you're basically going to push this straight down. So I'm going and I'm pushing it straight down. You can even push it straight down and give yourself a little bit of a myofascial stretch through there, but you're just trying to get that first rib to move. When you do this, you're going to hold it for just a little bit, and I want you really mobilizing this for maybe 8 to 10 of these, and doing it every 2 to 3 hours, just trying to mobilize this part of the ribs. So if we get the ribs moving in that area, it will get those muscles to relax, because again, if something's not moving, the muscle's going to stabilize and protect. And we've got to figure out why that's happening. So that's the exercise you do if your first rib is not moving, which also can affect the scalene. So again, when we're looking at you, we can move things, go, wow, everything moves here. Okay, wait, that doesn't move. That's what we need to do. That's where everything's coming from. And so we do our evaluation to kind of figure those things out. It's hard for you to do an evaluation on yourself. Even for myself, I had some issues from sleeping on a bad pillow. And I'm like, man, I'm getting so tight in the front. And I had to have one of my staff go like, hey, will you just check my neck? And it was like, move, move up. This one doesn't move. One section did not move. She mobilized it and I'm like, oh, wow. Now I can move and I don't have that tightness like I had before. So getting in to see someone that understands what's going on will help things speed up so much faster. And we can help with a lot of manual work to assist you in what we're giving you for home. So let's talk about the last one, the Pec Minor. Sometimes with the pec, you can have shortening, and that's what's causing everything to go forward, which then is causing that first rib. And so again, I can go and mobilize all these areas, and then that pec is shortened and it's tight, and that's what's causing it. Sometimes we have the pec will be shortened because the first rib's not moving, and that's once when you get that down, then everything opens up. And sometimes the pec has been there for a while and it's shortened. And we've got to get that to release. But again, if we aren't looking at how the neck is moving, how the first ribs are moving, those are the first things that we go through before we get into the pec. And I've had times where I've gone through all of this and then we go to the pec, and the pec was the thing that unlocked everything else. And I've had other times where all of this unlocked the pec. You just don't know. We just have to test it to see kind of what is causing it. But a really good stretch for that Pec Minor is using a foam roller, and you're going to come up to and lie on the edge of it. Where you lie down, you want your shoulders to kind of come through here, and you're just going to kind of open up the arms. You can open up in different positions to just really open up through here. A lot of times we'll do some mobilizations where we can cross our arms and like put pressure through the pec, and that's really going to really open up that Pec Minor. But if you don't have this, so you've got to do it in a way that you can do it at home. So you can use a foam roller to just kind of open up this through here to really kind of hit that Pec Minor, and you can kind of hit different parts of that to really hit this kind of area. So these are great exercises that you can do to start getting things to open up, to help with some of the compression that we're getting in those three main areas. These are the three main areas that you'll get compression with thoracic outlet syndrome. So again, thoracic outlet is a diagnosis, which is just the symptoms. It's figuring out where is the compression coming from, and why is there compression there. And when you figure those things out, then it's easy to kind of address this. So we've got to look at neck mobility, we've got to look at first rib mobility, and we've got to look at pec tightness. One last thing that I did not talk about that we can look at is even breathing, because if you breathe like this and then come back down and we're breathing with our shoulders, this also will elevate the first rib. It will also make those scalenes work harder. And so you've got to make sure that we also address the breathing component of basically understanding why are you breathing with here and not doing belly breathing. And so it's readjusting how you breathe, which is keeping those shoulders down, taking a deep breath, getting it in more through the belly, and breathing out. And so going and just really making sure that we're not breathing through the chest and that we're breathing through the belly is also another piece that you can look at. And sometimes you have to do this lying down because you can just really like work, be in a more relaxed position versus a standing, more functional position. Sometimes you can do it sitting up. So again, keeping those shoulders here, taking a deep breath in through our belly, out through our belly, so that we can get everything kind of moving. So breathing also has some stuff to do with this, because if we're breathing and up through here and we're elevating our shoulders and our breath, that also can create scalene tightness, first rib tightness, that can create all sorts of problems with thoracic outlet syndrome as well. If your symptoms haven't improved with standard care physical therapy, this is the exact type of problem that we help solve at mPower Physical Therapy. Getting to the root cause so you can get back to living pain-free without surgery, injections, or medications. You can schedule a discovery visit by clicking on the link in the description to set up a time to learn more about how we can help you in solving your problem and why things have worked and why other things haven't worked for you.